There is a power within you, a silent force that has been waiting, not for the perfect moment, but for your permission. The moment you decide to take charge of your thoughts, your words, and your direction, you step into the role of the author of your own story. You hold the pen, you command the plot, and regardless of the chapters behind you, a new page begins now. Life does not bind you to your past unless you choose to live there. Your mistakes, your regrets, your missed chances, they are not life sentences. They are lessons, they are fuel, and when understood correctly, they become the stepping stones to your transformation. No man is ever truly defeated unless he accepts defeat in his own mind. You have within you the power to rewrite your life, not with mere wishes, but with unwavering desire, backed by faith and followed with definite action. Decide now what you want, see it clearly, burn it into your imagination until it becomes as real as the ground beneath your feet. Hold it in your thoughts so persistently that the world is compelled to yield. Let go of fear. It is the great thief of dreams. Replace it with faith. Faith in yourself, in your purpose, in the unseen forces that align with a mind that will not be denied. You must become so determined, so resolute, that every obstacle is merely an illusion, fading in the presence of your will. Build a plan, then build another if the first fails, but never surrender the goal. Persist, adjust, improve. Success belongs to those who refuse to quit, to those who keep going long after others have settled. Remember, it is not your resources but your resourcefulness that will carry you forward. Surround yourself with those who uplift your vision. Associate with minds that inspire growth, not stagnation. Together, through the power of the mastermind, your energy multiplies, your clarity sharpens, and your path becomes unstoppable. The mind is your greatest asset, and what you plant there, you shall harvest. Plant only what you wish to live. Remove every limiting thought. Feed your mind daily with belief, with vision, with courage. And watch as your reality bends to meet the strength of your conviction. You are the author of your life. Rewrite your story with purpose and belief. Persistent action, guided by definite desire and unwavering faith, creates unstoppable momentum. You are the author of your life. Write your story with purpose and belief. This truth is not poetic fantasy or hopeful encouragement. It is the foundation of every transformation, every reinvention, every break through that mankind has ever witnessed. Life is not merely something that happens to you. It is something that responds to you. It bends, stretches, and shifts in accordance with the power of your thoughts, your choices, and your unshakable intent. Your past does not define you unless you allow it to be the ink that stains every page you write. The future belongs not to those who wait, but to those who decide, those who claim the pen and begin again. There are people in this world who have suffered loss, endured rejection, stumbled in darkness, yet rose with a new chapter burning in their minds. They refused to let yesterday's pain become tomorrow's prison. They understood that identity is not fixed, that destiny is not carved in stone, but rather shaped by the hands of those bold enough to shape it. If you can imagine something more for yourself, if you can feel the faint whisper of possibility rising within you, then that is your calling. It is not fantasy. It is the voice of potential, reminding you that your story is not finished. To rewrite your life begins with taking responsibility, not blame, but responsibility. That means recognizing that while you may not have chosen every hardship you've faced, you are in full control of how you respond, how you learn, and how you grow. It is in that response, that deep decision, where your power lies. The world may offer you storms, but it is you who decides whether to be swept away or to set your sails in a new direction. This isn't about denying what has been. It is about refusing to be defined by it. No great life was ever written in straight lines. There are detours, battles, heartbreaks, and failures that seem insurmountable, but these are not the end of your story. They are the parts that make it worth reading. What would the tale of triumph be without the valley of struggle? What is courage without fear? What is victory without a challenge? The more pages behind you, the more wisdom you carry. The more tears you've cried, the more reasons you have to rise. Every scar, every bruise, every chapter you would rather erase has given you something. A lesson, a strength, a revelation. Use them. Don't hide them. They are the ingredients of your rebirth. Rewriting your life is not about pretending that everything is fine or avoiding reality. It is about confronting the truth with open eyes and saying, "This is where I am, but not where I will stay." It is about waking up each day and choosing, again and again, to live intentionally. No one else can make this decision for you. Not your friends, not your family, not your past, and certainly not your doubts. This is a contract between you and the life you deserve. You do not need permission. You do not need a perfect plan. You only need the courage to begin where you are. Belief is the fire that fuels this journey. Belief in your worth. Belief in your vision. Belief that even if the road is long, you are not walking it in vain. The mind is a garden, and your thoughts are the seeds. Plant only what you want to harvest. Plant hope, plant strength, plant determination. Remove every weed of fear and doubt. Feed your mind with the nourishment of possibility, and it will grow miracles. What you believe about yourself will echo in every decision you make. If you believe you are stuck, your actions will follow. If you believe you are capable, worthy, and destined for more, your entire world will begin to shift. It is easy to look around and see only what is lacking, to measure yourself against others, to count your failures, to magnify your flaws. But none of that will write a better chapter. What will? Vision. The ability to see not just what is, but what can be. Close your eyes and picture the life you desire. Not just the things, but the feeling. The peace, the power, the joy. Feel it in your bones. That vision is your compass. Let it guide your decisions, your focus, your energy. Let it remind you, when the world grows loud with doubt, that you are going somewhere, and your direction matters more than your speed. Start small, but start with conviction. You do not have to change your entire life in a day. You only need to do one thing differently. One thought, one choice, one action that aligns with the person you are becoming. Consistency will turn those small steps into a staircase. Discipline will build momentum, and before you know it, the page will turn, and you will find yourself living in a story you once only dreamed of. That is the power you hold, the power of decision, the power of persistence. The power of identity, shaped not by circumstance, but by conscious design. There will be resistance, your old habits, your old fears, your comfort zone. They will whisper lies in your ear. They will tell you to stay the same, to play it safe, to wait until you feel ready. But you must not wait. Readiness comes through movement. Confidence is not a prerequisite. It is a byproduct of doing the thing you once thought you couldn't. Action births belief. The more you move forward, the more you prove to yourself that you are no longer the person who settles. You are no longer the person who repeats. You are no longer the person who apologizes for wanting more. You are rewriting your life. Every moment, every choice, every thought is a sentence added to your new chapter. Let those sentences reflect power. Let them reflect purpose. This is your time to define who you are, not who they told you to be, not who you were conditioned to believe you were, but the truth of your spirit. You are not here to blend in. You are not here to survive. You are here to expand, to create, to inspire. The story you write from this moment forward can become the legacy you leave behind, not because of titles or trophies, but because of the courage you had to choose yourself, to bet on your own potential, to walk through the fire of transformation and emerge as the fullest expression of who you are. That fire is not something to fear. It is something to embrace. It is the refining flame that burns away the falsehoods and reveals the gold beneath. Speak differently, walk differently, think differently. Carry yourself like the person you are becoming, not the person you were. Let your inner dialogue shift from limitation to liberation. Replace "I can't" with "I will." Replace "I don't know how" with "I will figure it out." Every time you think a thought, ask yourself, does this thought belong to the old story or the new one? Choose accordingly. Train your mind to become loyal to your future, not a slave to your past. You are not starting from scratch. You are starting from experience. Everything you've lived through has equipped you with insight others may never understand. Your pain, your struggle, your survival, these are your credentials. You have earned the right to rise. You have earned the right to create again. No one else gets to define the limits of your possibility. No one else gets to hold the pen, and if you fall again, so be it. That is part of the process. Failure is not a sign to quit. It is a signal to adjust. To rise smarter, to rise stronger, to rise with even greater conviction. The world is waiting for the story only you can tell, the life only you can build, the example only you can become. All it takes is the willingness to begin, to choose today over yesterday, purpose over passivity, belief over fear. And when you look back someday, you will see that the most powerful moment of your life was not when everything changed for you, but when you decided to change everything for yourself. Persistent action, guided by definite desire and unwavering faith, creates unstoppable momentum. This is not a theory or an optimistic ideal. It is a universal law of achievement. When you decide on a goal with such clarity that it consumes your mind, your heart, and your spirit, you begin a process that pulls unseen forces into alignment. But desire alone is not enough. Dreams without action are dust. Faith without movement is a wish. It is in the relentless application of focused effort, day after day, that transformation occurs. The world has given countless examples of people who had very little to begin with, no wealth, no connections, no formal education, but who rose to unimaginable heights. What separated them from the masses was not luck. It was not some hidden advantage. It was the fire of their desire, the steel of their belief, and the consistency of their action. They refused to stop. They refused to be discouraged by temporary defeat. They learned that defeat was not failure but feedback. It was not the end but the beginning of wisdom. And each time they stumbled, they used the experience as fuel to push forward with even greater force. Momentum is a curious thing. It does not come at the beginning. At first, the work is hard. It is slow. You may feel like nothing is changing. You pour yourself into the task, and the results are invisible. But the law of compounding effort is always working, even when you cannot see it. Like water carving stone, the change is happening quietly, persistently, beneath the surface. Those who keep going, who keep showing up, who keep taking one more step forward, those are the ones who reach a tipping point. Suddenly, what was once difficult becomes second nature. What once resisted begins to yield. The world begins to move in your favor, not because it changed, but because you did. But to maintain this journey, you must begin with desire. Clear, burning desire. You cannot act with persistence on something you only vaguely want. You must want it so deeply that you think about it when you wake, you dream about it when you sleep, and you carry it with you like breath in your lungs. You must define it with precision. Vague goals produce vague results. What is it you truly want? Not what you think you should want, not what others expect of you, but what ignites your soul. That is your starting point. That is the fuel that keeps the fire alive when the road grows dark. Once desire is locked in place, faith must follow. Not blind hope, but belief backed by evidence you create by your own thoughts, words, and actions. Faith is the antidote to doubt, the cure for fear. It is the quiet voice inside that says, "I will find a way," even when every sign says you won't. Faith is not about guarantees. It is about trust. Trust that the effort will pay off. Trust that you are capable. Trust that the universe rewards those who refuse to be defeated. It is in faith that courage is born, and it is in courage that action becomes consistent. Action is the bridge between desire and result. It is the visible proof of your internal commitment. Action must be taken every day, not just when it's easy, not just when you feel inspired, but especially when you don't. That is the difference between those who wish and those who win. The winners act regardless of feeling. They are driven not by mood, but by mission. They understand that progress is not made in massive leaps, but in small, intentional steps repeated endlessly. They build discipline, and discipline becomes a habit. Habit becomes identity, and identity becomes destiny. You cannot wait for the perfect conditions. If you do, you'll wait forever. The perfect moment does not exist. What exists is the now, the opportunity in front of you, no matter how small. Do something with it. Build upon it. Stack one brick each day. You don't need to build the whole structure in one moment, but you must lay the foundation, and you must keep laying it until the shape of your vision begins to emerge. Every action you take in the direction of your dream sends a signal to your mind. This is who I am now. I am no longer the one who waits. I am no longer the one who wishes. I am the one who builds. There will be days when progress feels invisible. When results do not match your effort, when your motivation wanes and your faith wavers, this is where most people quit. But you must remember, persistence is not a feeling, it is a decision, and that decision must be made daily, sometimes hourly. You must choose to keep going even when the results are not immediate, even when recognition is absent, even when you are alone in your pursuit. Because the moment you choose to continue, you are doing what 90% of people refuse to do. That alone sets you apart, and something extraordinary happens when you keep going longer than the struggle expected you to. You develop strength, not just physical strength, but emotional resilience, mental toughness, and spiritual depth. You become someone different, not because the world changed, but because your persistence reshaped you. You no longer look for shortcuts. You no longer need external validation. You carry your purpose like a torch, and you become the light others follow. In every great achievement, there is a quiet story of repetition. The painter who practiced brushstrokes in silence, the athlete who trained before the sun rose, the entrepreneur who kept building after every door closed. Their success was not sudden. It was the product of relentless forward motion. They kept the vision alive in their mind, and they took action when no one was watching. They built momentum, and when the world finally noticed, it called them lucky. But luck had nothing to do with it. What had everything to do with it was persistence. There will be temptations to shift paths, to try something new when results are slow. But beware of distraction disguised as opportunity. Jumping from one idea to another prevents momentum. Mastery comes from depth, not breadth. Stick to your course. Adjust your methods, yes. Learn from failure, of course. But stay true to the dream that chose you. There is a reason it lives in your heart and not in someone else's. It is yours to bring to life, and life will test you to see how badly you want it. Pass the test. Show your commitment through continued action. Unstoppable momentum is not built in spurts. It is built in rhythm, a steady daily rhythm of intention and execution. You must become a person of action, not talk, not planning, but doing. Planning has its place, but execution is where transformation occurs. Speak less of your goals and show more through your behavior. Let your consistency speak volumes. Let your results whisper louder than any boast. You must also protect your energy. Surround yourself with those who reinforce your belief, not those who erode it. Doubt is contagious, so is faith. Choose your environment wisely. Read what uplifts you. Listen to what inspires you. Guard your mind like a treasure chest, because it is. Fill it with images, thoughts, and sounds that align with the life you are building. This is not wishful thinking. This is mental conditioning. You are reprogramming yourself for victory, for progress, for persistence. When you begin to move with intention, the universe responds, people appear. Opportunities emerge, solutions rise where before there were only problems. This is not magic, it is alignment. You begin to think differently, so you see differently, and because you see differently, you act differently. And because you act differently, the world reacts differently. That is momentum, that is power. That is the unfolding of a life guided by desire, driven by faith, and sustained by action. There is greatness in you, more than you've been told, more than you've allowed yourself to believe. But greatness is not revealed in comfort. It is revealed in persistence, in rising again and again and again, in doing what others won't, in becoming the person who keeps showing up. You do not need to be perfect. You do not need to have all the answers, but you do need to keep moving. You do need to believe that your dream matters, that you matter, and that your commitment will not return void. You are not waiting for a sign. You are the sign. You are the message. You are the proof that with desire, faith, and relentless action, anything becomes possible. And when the world finally sees what you've built, they will call you extraordinary. But you will know. You were always just a person who refused to give up. You don't need permission, you need persistence. When desire burns in your heart, when faith lives in your mind, and when your actions refuse to yield, you become a force that nothing can stop. Keep moving, keep building, and let the momentum of your unwavering spirit write the legacy you were born to leave.